Hello, Alex.
Hi, Evgeny. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. So I was thinking to talk about the scorecard and the metrics and third-party management, but after reading your book on the weekend, I think we should talk about the book.
Perfect. Happy to talk about the book, the perfect scorecard.
Tell me a bit about why write the book and who this book should help.
Sure. So I've been a CEO of a company. I've been a chief security officer myself, and I remember when I was a chief security officer at Guild Group, an e-commerce retailer. It was 3 months on the job. I put a lot of initiatives as a chief security officer in place. I was really proud of everything I accomplished. 3 months into my tenure, I get a call from chairman of a board who says, Alex, I want you to come and present to me your progress. So I put together an elaborate PowerPoint deck about my achievements, about the risks, the sequencing, the people I'm hiring. Go in to meet Kevin. He starts flipping through the deck, completely out of order, looks at me and says, I don't think you're doing a good job. I'm like, what do you mean? How am I not doing a good job? And he said, if I thought that you were doing a great job, I would hear more people complaining about you. You would be making more changes as a CISO. So his KPI, his metric was how many people complain about you. So, to me, that was many years ago, but to me, that was a big realization that there's a huge communication gap between board members, executives, and chief security officers. We just don't speak the same language. And so I asked myself, what can we do to really educate people about how to bridge this communication gap? And so I went to top people that I could think of, the top experts in a field on cybersecurity, insurance, consulting, and really worked with them almost in a conversational dialogue to assemble the set of best practices about how to improve communication between CISOs and senior executives. And that's what resulted in a perfect scorecard book.
I really like the idea in the book that describes that we not just need to adjust to the board expectation, we also need to educate the board about digital transformation, about technology, and the changes in the environment.
100%, right? A job of a CISO is a business partner. Your job is not to be perceived as a no team, which always tells people that no, this cannot be done, but you a true business partner. You need to help others figure out how to come up with business solutions, but to do it securely. And in order for them to understand the value and the why behind it, you also need to be an educator. You have to teach them, you have to explain to them why this is important. If we all collaborate together, that's how the world is really going to become a safer and more secure place. Like, we all need to work together. And right now, the topic of cybersecurity is definitely at the board level, but despite that, people are still not working together. And in order for us to combat the exponential increase in cybercrime, we need to speak the right language and to use the right KPIs and metrics.
Do you expect the boards to read the book as well, or only the security professionals?
Oh, 100%, right? The book was written in an accessible way. You don't need to know anything about cybersecurity to read the book. We tried to keep it very high level, and we included a lot of people as authors in the book, which also shared their perspective as a board member. For example, we included insights from Secretary Ray Mabus, who was running the Navy Department under President Obama. We included some insights from a terrific cybersecurity leader, Edna, who is at Microsoft right now. We included a lot of insights from Laura Diener at Northwestern Mutual about how she talks and communicates to the board. And we really kept it accessible both for board members and non-security executives.
There is this idea, I think, in the security professionals, that when they go present to the board, they need to be perfect. They have to have everything is okay. They're afraid to talk about the problems. On the flip side, there's a lot of discussion that you not get any money until something is really broken.
No, it's 100% a bit of a problem, right? Because if you position the board to think that you have all the answers, that everything is perfect, right? Then honestly, I don't know if they're going to trust you, right? So the one thing I remember, at least from what Secretary Mabus told us when we were talking and interviewing to him about the book. The one thing he told us is that when he was the Secretary of the Navy, he ran a huge team. And he used to sit on the debriefings of carrier strike teams who have been on 8 and 9 month military deployments. And there was only one constant in each debriefing. The group always faced an obstacle that they did not expect, and they were not trained for it. And they just had to figure it out when the incident was happening. And so he said also that being a CISO today is one of the hardest jobs. And so if your CISO comes to you and to the board and says, oh, I got everything covered, it's all perfect, there should be alarm bells ringing in your head, right? Like the one thing, just like Secretary Mabus expected, you're going to face obstacles that you never expected and you never were trained for. So how you're going to do and how you're going to perform is going to be directly correlated to how adaptable you are.
Is there a better way to ask money for the board?
Well, the key thing is really to make any conversation you have as a partnership conversation, right? Like you want to approach any conversation, whether you're a board member or whether you're a CISO, with the student's mind. You always want to learn. So if you're a board member, you want to ask inquisitive questions and really learn about the challenges the CISO might be facing. So you want to go ask a CISO, what is the one thing I could do to help make you more successful in the next 60, 90 days? And then conversely, if you're a CISO, also approach it with a learner's mind. Ask the board, besides cybersecurity, what is the one thing that me as a CISO can do in the next 60, 90 days to help accelerate the business initiatives, right? If you really try to approach it, keeping the other side's perspective in mind, and you approach it with a learner's mind, it's always going to be a better collaborative conversation.
I know from my perspective, as an architect, if I fail to explain to the business my recommendation and align them to business objective, then I better not recommend anything. I need to be able to explain why the business needs this as well.
So, and it's also so important, by the way, just to add on to it, to rely on advisors, to rely on your network. Because if I'm a CISO and I'm trying to do everything myself without talking to other people, I don't know the best practices that other companies do. So for example, for me to talk to somebody like you, Evgeny, who talks to dozens of companies about security architecture solutions, that's an incredible advantage because you know how other companies are doing it. So you sharing the insights you developed out of the collective network wisdom. We need to do more of that.
And you're right, because what we know for sure, we cannot know everything. So I always tell my customers that I am here to teach and help you, but I'm also here to learn from you. If you're doing something well and in a smart way, great. It's amazing. Maybe some other people can adapt a different, same mind thinking like you and change the ways they operate.
Completely agreed. And you know, I think also the digital transformation that we're experiencing only exacerbates the need for the boards and CISOs to work together, because we operate in a highly complex environment that is only getting more complex. The attack surface is becoming exponentially more complex. Now you need to protect not just your perimeter, but now you rely on a myriad of cloud services, third parties, all interconnected to each other. You could do a fantastic job protecting your company, but a compromise of one of your third-party vendors could lead to you being hacked as a company. Attackers are getting access to ever more increasing array of different cyber weapons, where with a click of a mouse, you can launch a very sophisticated cyber attack. Exponentially increasing attack surface with third parties, access to more cyber weapons. So situation is not great, but the thing we can control as practitioners, as security officers, as board members, is to focus on the right things, right? Focus on the right things, and that starts with the right dialogue and right communication and the right KPIs that we use for that communication.
Alex, thank you very much. We'll have to bring you back to talk about security metrics and KPI and how we can use third-party management. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Evgeny.